him and I were catching up, and he's wanted to learn about what I do. So I talked to him about it. Like I said before, we always start with goals. Now that life's a little bit more complicated, his fiance looked at me and told me, she really opened up at this point. She said, listen, my parents have been going through a nightmare retirement. Basically, they ran out of money, halfway through retirement. They're in panic mode, trying to figure out how to scrape by. When she looked me in the eye and she said, we came to you, we didn't have any plan. And now I know that we're going to be okay. I know that when we get to retirement, what we've laid in place, what my parents are going through is not even an option for us, not even on the table. Think about what you do right now on a Saturday, because retirement is like every day is Saturday. This is Key Bennett with Blue Crest Financial, and this is a Working Class Roundup.
Saddle up. Punch that clock. Let's ride.
This is a working class roundup. Spurs truck, boots up, pants rub. Clock in, hold on, don't fold up. We get paid, get drained, still show up. From the plant yard dust to the highway rust. Raise that cup, let's sound off. This is the working class roundup.
Yeehaw! Welcome to the Working Class Roundup. I'm your host, Cowboy Jody Collins, and today I got a very, very special guest. He is a finance guru. He is a guru of everything with dollar signs. Mr. Key Bennett. Welcome, sir.
Thanks for having me, Jody.
Oh, I'm welcome. I'm super excited to have you on here. Real quick, Working Class Roundup, what we do is we feature small, mid-sized businesses in the great state of Texas. We find out what inspires them, what makes them tick, what makes them special and unique in the marketplace. And then on the flip side, we talk about the nightmares and the things that can happen if they don't follow the advice, or how insurance can bail them out. Key, first, I do want to say thank you for your service, brother.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the
I
support.
love you. My son serves, and then my heart goes out to every man that puts their neck on the line for this country. So thank you.
Appreciate it, Jody.
Obviously, were you one of those kids in high school that just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be a finance planner"?
Definitely not.
So
No.
how did you get into this thing?
Man, to keep a long story short, no, I didn't really know what I wanted to do going into college. I knew I wanted to go to Texas A&M, which is where I went. While I was there, I kind of got the itch to join the Army, join the military in general. I had this kind of undefinable, I want to pay my dues. I'm very blessed to live where I am and have the life I live. So I want to earn my keep. That's a whole story in itself. But transitioning from the Army, I knew I wanted to help people make a good living and feel good doing it. And through a bunch of variables, that landed me in a career in financial planning.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I mean, there's just so many different disciplines, I guess you should say, within the, because again, I'm an inner geek like you. There's a lot of licenses. What made you say, I want to do this aspect of it, the finance side of it, the investment side of things?
It's a really complicated world, and really everybody can benefit from the service. And when I say everybody, I literally mean everybody from somebody who might be struggling in debt to somebody who's trying to figure out how to transition millions of dollars to the next generation.
Yeah.
Everybody needs the service. The level is just different.
Yeah. It's the same answer on the insurance side. It's you're selling something that somebody needs, and it feels good to sell that. Yeah, you can sell them a toaster, but not everybody needs a toaster, right?
Yeah, I used to make the joke to people like, yeah, I could probably go sell Porsches, but am I really making somebody's life better? Like, I don't really feel that way.
All right.
Necessarily.
Yeah. And that's the cool thing. When you get the stories of people that you've helped, when you've seen people, that's where, again, it tugs on the heart, but it's like, okay, I did my job today.
Exactly.
I like that. Now, what we're doing now, where you're at right now with your partners and in the practice you're in, what makes you guys unique in the Texas market? What makes you stand out from other financial planners?
Yeah, it's a great question. In the scheme of financial planners, you kind of have, on the one end, you have RAs. On the other end, you have kind of big captive insurance people. We're a hybrid in the middle. So we can operate in every area. We skew towards one, like holistic planning, and we might get into that later. But another big value proposition of us is most financial advisors I've found, they really focus on wealth accumulation. Like, how do I save money? How do I build this really big pile, this nest egg, if you want to call it?
Right.
But then when it comes time to turn that into income, a lot of people don't have a good plan for that. They just know, hey, I have my couple million. This is my withdrawal rate, and that's the end of the story. We really do a lot of planning along the way to make sure you have the most options and flexibility at the end of the road, because you can't just have a plan that gets you to retirement. You need a plan that gets you through retirement in the way that you want to live.
I like that mentality, because when they would always teach us in athletics, right? And you were running, you never ran to the finish line, you ran through the finish line.
Yeah,
Same mentality.
exactly the
I
same.
love that. That's
Yeah.
a good way to visualize it. Nice. So scenario, let me say, so again, different levels, different folks, different strokes. Somebody straight out of high school, they're not going to college. They're just going into the working class. They're starting up, maybe they're 1099, starting up their own business, or going to work for somebody for a couple of years and then start their own business. Where would they start with you? What would be the first conversations that you would have with them?
Man, that's probably some really basic financial principles. Like, hey, what amount of money can we save per month? Like, what amount can your lifestyle afford? And let's just see some structure around that. Maybe it's 10% of every paycheck. We're going to sock that away to a short-term emergency fund. If you don't have any savings, we might have a goal of let's build up to $1,000 in a savings account. They don't really need me and my team to do that. Like, I'll give them that advice, but they can definitely do that on their own. They don't need to pay anybody. Beyond that, we might look at, okay, we have the short-term needs accomplished. What does our investment timeline and philosophy look like? The earlier you start, I'm sure most people have heard this, but the earlier you start, the greater compound interest just drastically changes what it looks like at the end of the line for you. The end of the line being that day that you decide to not work.
Okay. No, and that makes sense. And would you say you put it in the savings account, and then at the end of the year, you take that bulk money and you do something with it? Or is it better to just take a little chunk of it, 10% of a paycheck, and send that in for the investment side? Or what would your advice on that kind of thing be?
Yeah, I'd say first just establish that emergency bucket. If it's, let's just call it $1,000 is your emergency bucket.
Okay.
From there, you leave your 1,000 and you start putting whatever increments you can into an investment strategy. When people hire us, different tiers of capital open up different kinds of strategies. So, for example, we're not going to manage a $5,000 account the same we will a $5 million account.
Sure.
But every account will be invested in some manner in those incremental fashions.
So now fast forward, 5 years later, they're now married. They got their first child on the way. They're both working, right? Average median household income, right? So let's say, 40,000 for each of them. So about 80,000 net, right? What would your advice be for them, that family just starting up?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's kind of a couple we see a lot is early 30s, married, 2 jobs, a kid or 2. We're looking at a lot more variables now. Now we're looking at, we're always aware of mitigating risk, but now we have a lot in our life that really depends on our income. So for instance, we might need to protect some of that income through life or disability insurance, if appropriate.
Okay.
If one of the parents, God forbid, something happens and $40,000 a year turns off, we might need a chunk of money to come in and help so the household can just continue status quo, even though they're going through a very emotionally turbulent time.
Sure.
Other things come into play, like maybe we have a house, maybe we're looking at saving for kids' college, maybe we want to buy a business. There's not a cookie cutter answer for you, but there's a lot of variables that we start looking and talking about that, immediately graduating high school might not be there.
See, and I love that you brought that up, because I think that's a very, very important topic, right? Financial planning is not a cookie cutter. It's not a template, right? It's I'm going to sit down with you and your spouse, your family, and you're going to tell me what's important to you. And then you're going to guide them, right? Well, hey, you want little Timmy to go to college. Okay, well, we'll do this. And if that's not important, if they're just going to get out in the working class and just go, okay, well, then that changes, right? You can pivot that money to something else. You have that conversation. Well, hey, if something happened to me, I want my wife to be able not to work for 2 years so she can mourn me. I'm not important, right? Yeah. But it gives her time to figure out what she wants to do, because there's young kids, right? And so raising the kids is most important for those 2 years. And then maybe introducing yourself back into the workforce. So there's a lot to it, and you guys do something unique, right? You take time to get to know your clients.
We do, and it's a great point that you brought up. Planning is really in two phases. The first phase, arguably the most important, is planning for goals. So it's not my job to tell somebody how to do things, because I have an idea of what's important to me and how I arrange my life and how I mitigate risk, how I invest money. That doesn't mean that my client is going to value the same things.
Yeah.
Some people want to sock away a ton of money for their kids' college. Some people don't believe in that. And neither answer is wrong. We're just going to plan for what's important to you in the household.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And it's that trusted advisor. Hey, I'm here with you, and you tell me what you want, and I'll show you the vision or the steps to get there, right?
Exactly.
Love that. I love that. We're going to take a quick break for a commercial, and we'll be right back with Key Bennett. Here's a word from our partners and sponsors in crime. We'll be right back on the Working Class Roundup.
When it comes to posting on social media, you might think that promoting your business is the only way. It's not. Building trust comes down to telling a story, providing education, showing entertainment. So you're on social media. Do you scroll down your feed, or do you click on one of those reels and just doom scroll? That gives us an opportunity to stand in front of them and connect with them. Now, when connecting, we don't really want to be promoting. We want to be telling the stories of how things have happened, testimonials of clients that you've worked with. So if you're interested in how you can leverage social media, click on the link below and let's have a conversation about it.
Hey, Working Class Nation, Cowboy Jody Collins here. Do you drive a vehicle that has a logo on it? Do you use a trailer for your day-to-day work? Do you travel more than 25 miles away to different job sites? Do you have tools hanging off of your vehicle or inside your vehicle mounted? If you do, you need to have a commercial auto policy. It's just that simple, because if you don't have coverage. So we want to make sure we take care of that. So click on the link below, give us a call today. We can help you out with that journey. I'm Cowboy Jody Collins. Happy sales and happy trails. Welcome back to the Working Class Roundup. We're talking to Key Bennett, financial planner extraordinaire, and a good buddy of mine. Key finances, they're like, they write movies and scripts about bad decisions and heartache and heartbreak, right? What's a story that really impacted you, that really said, wow, I'm glad I'm in this industry?
One that does come to mind, a friend of mine that I've known for a long time, he and his fiance had a kid. Him and I were catching up, and he's wanted to learn about what I do. So I talked to him about it. Like I said before, we always start with goals. So I said, hey, what's important to you? And they laid out what was important to them. And not to get into the nitty gritty, but we put some strategies in place that, managing some investments, some life insurance, and some overall financial planning now that their life's a little bit more complicated. And his fiance looked at me and told me, she really opened up at this point. She said, listen, my parents have been going through a nightmare retirement. Basically, they ran out of money, halfway through retirement, and they're in panic mode, trying to figure out how to scrape by. That really impacted her, especially as she had the baby coming. And when she looked me in the eye and she said, we came to you, we didn't have any plan, and now I know that we're going to be okay. I know that when we get to retirement, what we've laid in place, what my parents are going through, is not even an option for us, not even on the table. So thank you. And again, they're young, they're in their 30s, they got a long way to go and build this amazing life. But that was very impactful for me.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah. Helping them with somebody like that, it makes a big deal, right? I have the same experience sometimes when I talk about, because again, insurance, the cool thing about insurance is that it's a promise that you're going to be bailed out. You're going to be protected. You're going to be safeguarded. So you can say, okay, we got that covered, right? But it's very segmented. In fact, I gave a presentation once where I know it's a meme and everything like that, but I compared insurance to like the Roman Empire, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the formations, those shields that the Roman soldiers, the legionnaires carried, they're huge, beautiful, but they protected, right? But where they were most effective is when they were interlocked with each other, right? In that formation. They had him on the front, they had him on the side, and they had him on the top. It was almost like an old-fashioned tank, right? And that's the way I view insurance, right? And they all interlock and protect each other, right? So you've got somebody who goes to work every day and they dig ditches and they lay PVC pipe. There's workers' comp, and that protects them while if they get injured there, they get a paycheck. And if they can't work another day in their working age, they'll be covered up until the day they would retire. They get a paycheck every day, right? That's what worker comp does. And then, but on the flip side, if they were done with the job and they're driving home for the day and they get in a car accident and it unfortunately takes their life, well, now there's car insurance, but there's also life insurance that would overlap and protect. And it's that locking bridges mechanism. And those are the things that are there to protect in those senses. But don't forget here, right? Which is yourself. It's your future self. It's your retirement. It's your and that's where you come in, and you're putting the top protection over the head, right? It's the peace of mind that, hey, when you step away from your job, the bills are going to be paid. You can still go visit the grandkids across the country, wherever they might be, right? It's that peace of mind knowing, yeah, I get to enjoy life. I've worked, I've slaved, I've done what I've done, but now I get to enjoy life. I get to go enjoy the fruits of my labor, so to speak.
Yeah, and with enough time, like I don't want anyone ever to have to take a step back when they retire. I don't want anybody to be making X income and then the day they retire, they're living off X.
See, that's a good thing.
If we can help it. Because think about retirements. Sometimes I tell people, and I stole this from a mentor of mine, but think about what you do right now on a Saturday, because retirement is like every day is Saturday. So if you're going out golfing and then going to brunch and then dinner with friends and then going to the movies, I mean, you're spending a lot of money, having a lot of fun. That's what retirement is like. We need enough income to support exactly what you said. Like, hey, I worked my butt off and now I'm ready to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to take a step back,
Right.
and go into a more uncomfortable form of retirement.
Right. I agree. And then the other thing is there's so many different products, right, that you guys do that you got to, because there's obviously life insurance and there's in financial investments, the stock market and things like that. But then you've got your annuities and what other things you guys got out there that people can put money into.
Yeah, I mean, you can get as complicated as you want, but the basics across the board: life insurance, disability insurance, annuities. The investment world is so complex now in a really good way. I mean, you've seen crypto, you've seen alternative investments. There's a bunch of stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
What I tell people when they ask about this kind of conversation, the product thing, I'm like, you need to find an individual or a team you trust above all else. They're going to guide you in the right direction.
Yeah. And then talk a little bit about like the continuing education, because that's something that's really important in our industry, right? We're required by law to go back and get continuing education because it's changing all the time, right? The investments from 10 years ago are nowhere near what investments are like today, right?
Right.
You just mentioned cryptocurrency. That didn't exist 10 years ago, right?
Right. Yeah, great question. So, some people, and most people are going to be upfront with you about this when you ask them, like, hey, what are your credentials? What are your licensing? Some people can come in, just grab a life insurance license, and they might call themselves financial advisors.
Right.
Though they can only sell insurance products. Kind of the next step, I would say, is being a registered representative. Somebody who, me, for example, I have a Series 7 and a Series 66. Past that, you're looking for things like certified financial planners, CFAs.
Yep.
Those are marks of continued education. So not to say if somebody's not a CFP, they're not a quality planner, because I'm not a CFP. But that is what you want to look for. Like one of the seniors on my team,
Right.
He is a CFP, been in the business for 30 years.
Yeah. In the industry, when the insurance industry on both sides of the coin here, they have what they call designations, right? And those designations are tests that you have to study for, and we treat them kind of like associate's degree in that content.
Yeah, great way to put it.
Yeah. And so when you see a signature of a financial planner and they have all these letters after them, CPCU, all these little, that means a different designation, certified, financial planner, they more education. That's why I always joke we're doctors of insurance and investments, because we keep going back and getting more education. Right. And that pays dividends. Literally, for the customer and the prospect, right? Because again, we're up to speed on what options are out there.
Yeah.
So, Key, how would somebody get a hold of you if they had questions about anything we talked about today, or they want some advice and counsel about their financial situation?
Well, you can find me pretty much anywhere, but Facebook, LinkedIn. You can find my firm, Blue Crest Financial. give it a Google. You'll find them. You'll
Okay.
find me on the page.
Cool. And we're going to put your link down at the bottom. So if anybody comes, and would you be open to coming back if we have another panel discussion with a couple of the other parties? I know we've talked about life insurance on this panel. We talked about mortgage and those things. I think they're all associated. So you'd be good with to come back?
Of course, man. I'd love to
Awesome.
come back. You make
I
it so
love
easy.
I
It's a
love
great
it. That's
conversation.
cool. That makes me happy and warm fuzzy. So awesome. I appreciate it, Key. And if you need help with your business insurance, or if you have a small business and you need to protect your assets, then go ahead and give us a call at Amax Commercial. We can help you out with that. We find solutions for businesses. I'm Cowboy Jody Collins, Key Bennett. Thanks again for being here. Wishing you, the working class nation, happy sales and happy trails. See you on the flip side.